The following text was scraped from a paranormal forum called Hunting El Dorado shortly before the entire thread was wiped. The forum focuses on supernatural locations around the world, but most of the time conversations revolve around North America. Many of the users are hungry for genuine paranormal experiences. Thread title: Illinois only. Has anyone ever heard of the Wicktrod Road? Yeah Libra 2 says.
Read title. Road is in Illinois apparently? Any information on it? Anyone know how to get there?
Metal Halonix says.
Oh boy. Long post incoming. Out in Jackson County, about 10 miles south of Murfreesboro, deep within the Shawnee National Forest, is a small road that isn't on any map. It's a 2-lane gravel path that cuts through the trees for anywhere between 5 and 9 miles, never intersecting with any other road or nature trail on the way. If you're familiar with the area, that might seem impossible. That's because it should be. Yet, the road exists. You'd never know it if you didn't know where to look, though. There's only one entrance, and only one exit, and I'm not going to tell you where either of them are. You must understand, it's for your own safety. Don't bother asking the locals about it either. They'll almost certainly deny having any knowledge of its existence. Trust me though, they know. If you're on this forum, you're probably looking for some paranormal experiences, right? Stick to urban exploration, ghost hunting, and Ouija boards. Bumbling around in the forests leads to 2 risks. Firstly, the risk that you'll die of natural causes. Secondly, that you'll find something authentically paranormal. This is an instance of the second case. I probably haven't deterred you yet though, right? This all sounds very exciting to you. Well, I've seen the road myself. I traveled the entire length of it. I've talked to others who've done the same. Let me outline what a trip down the road is like. You'll first see it off the side of another road. It'll look like any other path, if a bit more run down. The entrance isn't labeled or cordoned off, otherwise thrill seekers like the people on this forum would be able to find it and partake in the associated activities much more easily. Hopefully, you're still in your car. If, for some reason, you must go on this road, do not get out of your car for any reason. If you aren't in a car, don't go down the road. I've never met anyone who's gone through without staying in their car the whole time, and I doubt I ever will. Once you're in, you probably won't notice anything that different initially. The first half mile is practically the same as any other road, and many of the later rules don't apply here. Still, if you know them, you should follow them. If you don't, you'll get to know them very soon, because you're about to come upon the only known modification anyone has ever made to the road. A huge white placard with small black text peeking out from the trees. When you see this sign, stop and read it. Really read it. 2 or 3 times. Take a picture of it. Write the words down on a post-it note and tape it to your dashboard. It reads as follows. Stop. If you are reading this sign, it is already too late to turn back. The only way out is forward. Do not get out of your car for any reason. Never open your door or roll your windows down. Do not make any turns, no matter what. If you have a baby or young child in your car, hide them now and keep them hidden until you exit the forest. Up ahead is a hitchhiker. Unlock your car and let only them in. Do not give them your name, your age, the name of anybody you are related to by blood, your exact date of birth, your birthplace, any place you have ever lived. Thanks, apologies, any object of importance. Do not accept food or drink, deals, games of chance, a hand, a map, directions. Do not be rude. Drive at a constant and slow pace, 10 to 15 miles per hour, until the hitchhiker asks to leave the vehicle. Do not respond to this. Stop your car, unlock the door, let them out. Immediately lock your doors again and keep driving. Do not stop driving until you see local landmark. That's a lot of information to dump on you at once, but all of it is integral to your survival. You should follow each of these instructions to the letter with the same reverence you'd give to a bomb defusal manual. Pretty soon you'll see the hitchhiker. Hell, if you're unlucky, you might already see them up ahead while you're reading the sign. After that, it's about an hour of driving while simultaneously having the most important conversation of your entire life. Remember the rules and you might make it out. One last thing. The road will try to trick you, a lot. Maybe the hitchhiker will tell you they know a shortcut and then point to a small trail off the side of the road, just wide enough for one car to fit through. Don't be tempted. Maybe you'll drive past an abandoned, overgrown log cabin with incredibly rare and valuable mushrooms growing on the windowsill. Those aren't real. Maybe you'll see a path that leads to the most beautiful glade on Earth, with a glittering pond at the center occupied by all kinds of exotic birds. If you turn your car, nobody will ever see you again. Don't go on Wicktrod Road.
Huijae says,
You keep talking about the hitchhiker, but you haven't told us anything about them yet. Can we get any info? What do they look like?
Metal Halonic says,
Huijae. As far as I can tell, it's different for everyone. The hitchhiker I saw was a man in his late 60s with salt and pepper hair and a long goatee. One of the rangers says it was an 8 or 9-year-old girl with pigtails and a long pink dress.
Yeah Libra 2 says,
The sign mentions conversing with them. What's that like?
Metal Halonic says,
Yeah Libra 2. Mine was pretty pleasant to talk to. When I turned on the radio, he started prattling on about his music taste, and I engaged with him. We talked about music pretty much the entire ride. The conversation became so normal that I almost slipped up. You have such a luscious head of hair, he said. I almost responded with thank you. Almost. I wish I had that kind of youth. Care to trade? He said that last part like it was a joke, but I knew the rules.
Bro3Ba32 says,
Lamau, this is fake as shit.
Gadzooks says,
What would have happened if you slipped up?
Metal Halonix says,
Gadzooks. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that it gets pretty bad. I had a friend who slipped up once going through. He never told me what he did, but he's currently in a psych ward 2 states over. Paramedics found him passed out on the ground after he punched his bathroom mirror until it shattered. There was blood everywhere. When I went to visit, they searched me for any sharp or reflective objects and then let me in the room. Dude seemed absolutely out of it, refused to make eye contact.
Rhyhydra says,
So the road can still affect you even after you leave?
Yeah Libra 2 says,
Do you have any other stories about people who have slipped up?
Metal Halonix says,
Rhyhydra. Yes. That's why it's so dangerous. Yeah Libra 2. A couple. One dude I know went through, college athlete. He was insanely fit. A few weeks after he came out, he started suffering from muscular dystrophy despite having no genetic predisposition to it. I think he's a teacher now. Some kid apparently went through back in the 90s and died of sepsis 3 days later. When they performed an autopsy, they found his heart had basically rotted inside his chest.
Hacky Sack God says,
Oh, you guys are talking about Wicktrod? You can't forget about the Three Musketeers of 03.
Metal Halonix says,
Hacky Sack God. No chance.
John Doe says,
Okay, now you can't just say the Three Musketeers of 03 and not elaborate for us.
Metal Halonix says,
John Doe. I think I'd get banned if I talked about what happened to them.
Gadzook says,
No, I'm interested. I'll flag the thread 18+. Hold on.
Metal Halonix says,
Gadzooks. You sure? It's really, really grim. I won't go ahead until you tell me I'm good.
Gadzook says,
Yeah, I'm sure. If it's too bad, I'll just delete it and take the fall.
Metal Halonix says,
Gadzooks. Oh boy. Alright, here we go. The Three Musketeers of 03 were, as the name might imply, 3 people who went through the road in 2003. It was 3 teenagers who thought they were too tough for the road, basically. They went in a huge jeep with a hunting knife and some handguns they probably stole from their parents. Nobody knows what happened while they were in there, but we do know what they looked like when they came out. I was actually there that day. I still worked as an EMT back then, and I was in the ambulance that was dispatched to the exit. We were called in because a hiker found their car crumpled against the trunk of a tree. The first thing I noticed as we rolled up to the car was the smell. It was this disgustingly sweet scent of sugar plum, just barely masking the stench of spoiled milk and carrion. As we peeled open the driver's side door, I figured out where it was coming from. The kid in the front had basically vomited up his entire stomach. He died on the way to the hospital. Autopsy showed that his stomach exited through the mouth prior to the crash. In the bile coating his shirt, they were able to find pieces of a half-digested pastry of some kind. In the passenger seat was a kid it took them almost a week to identify. His body was in a state of advanced decay by the time we arrived, but no bugs would go near him. Also, he was missing everything below the knees. I say that in quotes because none of the matter was moved anywhere else, nor was it amputated. Instead, it had all been squished into 2 pink size 8 children's shoes that were loosely attached by skin and tissue. Have you ever had a towel or a piece of paper or something get sucked into a vacuum cleaner? Yeah, it basically looked like that, except the paper was flesh and bone, and the vacuum nozzle was the tiny foothole of a child's shoe. The last kid in the car was a girl in the back seat. You know that scene from Carrie where they dumped the blood on her at prom? Yeah, that's what she looked like. She was clearly still conscious, and we were trying to get her to tell us what happened, but she just couldn't talk. When we looked inside her mouth, we saw why. Her entire tongue had been ripped out of her throat. It was only after we got her to the hospital and the doctors managed to clean all the blood off her that we realized why she had been covered in so much of it. Her face, arms, neck, and legs had dozens of large lacerations. The official report said that she had been attacked by a colony of feral cats. She was the only survivor, obviously. I kept in contact with her for a bit, helped with physical therapy and all that. Last I heard, she graduated with a degree in chemistry or something and went off to work for some electrical company. She never told us what happened on that road.
Gadzuk says,
Holy shit.
Hacky Sack God says,
Don't forget, there are exactly 4 days a year where the road is off limits, and these morons chose one of them to go through. The road isn't usually that immediately deadly, even if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah Libra 2 says,
Might not be the right time to ask after all of that, but I am so curious what happens if you roll your windows down or open the door.
Metal Halonic says,
Yeah Libra 2. I don't know. I've never met anyone who did that. That might be because nobody ever has, or because you don't get out the other side if you do.
Yeah Libra 2 says,
Huh. Do you know of anyone who didn't come out the other side?
Metal Halonic says,
Yeah Libra 2. It's rare, but yes, a few.
Gadzuk says,
Hacky Sack, you mentioned that there are exactly 4 days a year where the road is off limits. Can you clarify what those days are and what that means?
Hacky Sack God says,
Yeah, the equinoxes and solstices. Those morons went during the summer solstice. Everyone knows not to cross a trod during the summer solstice.
John Doe says,
Well, we didn't know that.
Hacky Sack God says,
That's exactly why you don't get to know where the road is, Johnny boy. There's way more stuff you need to know about these kinds of roads before going through them. The sign only has the most important stuff, but that extra knowledge is also critical for things just like this. Even if those kids had done everything right, at least one of them was going to die, guaranteed.
Metal Halonic says,
Hacky Sack God. To be fair, the entire reason they didn't know about it is because it's so difficult to find knowledge about the roads. Those kids had no idea what they were getting into. I don't think it was entirely their fault.
Yeah Libra 2 says,
These kinds of roads? Plural?
Metal Halonic says,
Yeah Libra 2. It's debated among those in the know, but some people think there are other roads in other forests around the country. I could swing either way on it.
Hacky Sack God says,
Dude, considering how many there are in Europe, there has to be a few more in the States.
Rhyhydra says,
Is there any reason to go in? Usually there's some legend about a wish being granted or something to explain why people go there.
Metal Halonic says,
Rihydro. As far as I can tell, no, absolutely none. I sure as shit didn't get any kind of reward for going through.
Metal Halonic says,
I have to get to work now. I'll touch back in after my shift. Gadzooks, you should change the threadlock timer so it's still open when I get back from work. I'll say it one more time. Do not go to Wicktrod Road.
Shortly after this last message, users Metal Halonics and Hacky Sack God were banned from the forum and the thread was deleted for unknown reasons. All other archives of this thread and any messages in it were also wiped. No staff members of Hunting El Dorado claimed responsibility for this action. 2 weeks later, someone went missing in the Shawnee Forest. It is believed to have been one of the people in this thread.